I am Ryan, and this is.
And I'm Jared.
And this is our first episode of Dunks and Donuts, our podcast, which is very exciting. It is a Celtics-centered NBA commentary podcast. I think that's kind of the best way to describe it. But hi, welcome.
Yes, welcome. I was very nervous, but very excited to get this started.
Yeah, me too.
It was something that I think is long overdue for the both of us. I feel like we've talked about this 100 times before.
Yes.
Finally committing to just doing a podcast.
Exactly. I know. We're definitely just another drop in the bucket of NBA podcasts in general. But I think
for sure.
I think because of our passion, we'll rise above.
I think so too. And we got some pretty decent recognition already. Drew Carter from NBC Sports Boston liked my announcement tweet completely unprompted. I didn't send it to him. I didn't do anything like that. He just saw it on his feed on Twitter and liked it. So, shout out Drew if you're listening. We appreciate you. And yeah, like that was super cool to see somebody of his level like the announcement. So I'm really hoping he ends up listening. Anyway, Ryan, why don't you give our listeners a little bit of a rundown about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm not always great at promoting myself, but we're gonna do this. So I'm Ryan, and most of you probably know me and know way too much about me from Twitter, or you're my mom. Those are like the two groups of people that are listening right now. But I run and own a little online bakery, and it's just called Ryan Bakes. And I make vegan cookies, whoopie pies, cakes, custom cakes, and anything that I can veganify. And for every order that's placed, I donate a loaf of bread to a local Rhode Island food bank, as well as donating the excess food when I have excess food to Rescuing Leftover Cuisine. But yeah, that's ryanbakes.com, just the quick plug, ryanbakes.com. Don't forget it. It's, 2 N's, by the way, definitely 2 N's. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the baking side of things. That's where the donuts come in. And where the dunks come in, for me at least, is in about, I think it was 2020, early 2020, I joined Celtics Twitter and got really involved in Celtics Twitter and the community that exists there and now has kind of grown together and become this really awesome family that I love so much. And where they kind of sort of cross over the baking and the basketball, I started to make Celtics themed baked goods for different games, probably about like a year and a half back. And it slowly but surely evolved into me opening my own bakery. So yeah, that is pretty much me. I'm sure I'll find a way to tell you much more. But yeah, what about you, Jared?
Well, similar to you, I've been on Twitter for quite a while, and then I made this new account a couple of years ago, and I got, again, similar to you, probably 2-3 years ago is when I really got involved or tried to get involved on Twitter. To me and my 100 followers at the time, and it was during a couple of years ago during the playoffs. I just started tweeting out more. I started getting involved, and I ended up being ingrained into, like you called this, the Celtics Nation, a family, right? Like it's like a family on Twitter, and I was welcomed with open arms, and everybody's been so lovely. I've had nothing but amazing experiences with just about everybody on Celtics Twitter. And, the reason I got involved was because I started writing freelance for the team back when I was a sophomore in college. Shout out to Randy Zelia and Bill Ingram from Back Sports Page, giving me my first opportunity. And from there, my passion for the Celtics and the NBA in general just kind of grew. And I knew I wanted to get involved with media and journalism. And so, lo and behold, a couple of years later, I have almost 3,000 followers, and I feel like I've made somewhat of a name of myself within the Celtics community. And I just wouldn't be where I am today without these guys. So that's about me. That's about it for me.
Yeah, that definitely sums it up. I mean, Celtics Twitter is such an awesome place where, I don't know, we always make sure to have each other's backs. I really love it, and it's really easy to kind of get swept away, and just the really, really good nature of everyone. And yeah, it made it possible for us to be here and to think that we have the right to talk about basketball.
Yeah, right.
So I'm grateful for it.
No, for sure. And just the amount of support that we've had has been absolutely incredible.
It's crazy.
So, I just shout out to everybody who's part of Celtics Nation, Celtics Twitter, new users, old users, it doesn't matter. And then even like people like Richard White, Derek White's dad, being involved with Celtics Twitter as big as he is. And, Al Horford siblings, Anna and Josh and Mimi, like they all are pretty involved with Celtics Twitter, and they're always interacting with fans, and it's so nice to see just how loving of a community that it really is.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, everyone's always so supportive of really anything anybody wants to do if they can be, which is so cool and not common. It doesn't feel like that's always common. So anytime anyone has an idea or wants to pursue something, it feels like there's at least 10 or 20 people right behind them being like, yeah, this is a really good idea. And they're awesome. And I love that. It made my baking possible. Without Celtics Twitter, I never would have thought I could open a bakery. And yeah, I mean, now it's made Dunks and Donuts possible. And that's badass. So shout out to Celtics Twitter one more time.
For sure. And yeah, I'm excited to get started. I hope that, other people are excited to listen. It's always nerve-wracking when you first start a podcast, like, oh, I feel like everybody's going to hate it. And
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm going to make sure I'm unapologetically annoying about this, and I will be. So.
Yeah, you're going to be
I'm like, you're going to lie. Let's all lie. Let's just go and let Ryan have this one. So.
Yeah, there you go. All right, cool.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, no, you're going to love this. Actually, I made a joke the other day on one of your posts, and I don't know if you saw it. Somebody who did one of those anonymous things to you. Mm-hmm. They were asking you when you were gonna twerk in one of the Dun Kings
oh yeah, the Dunkerchino figures. Yeah.
And I was like, that's gotta be one of the segments, right? That'll get us
that might be our drawing factor. Look, we haven't reached desperate measures yet. Yeah. I'll do what I have to do for Dunks and Donuts.
Yeah, right. But no, that I thought was hilarious. I'm like, some people are really out of pocket, but we could always spin it to be funny.
So. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's almost always in relatively good fun. So I don't mind participating in it because that one did make me laugh. I was like, okay, sure. Credit where credit is due. Everyone has a good point. I was kind of asking for that one.
I mean, whatever. You would be the Dun Queen or Dunk Queen.
We are just blazing trails here, right?
Yeah. No, you're just on a roll.
This is a whole new world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This has just been a really fun, just getting it started has been fun.
Oh, it's been awesome. I've done the whole prep for it has been exciting. I love feeling the older I get, the more I love group activities, and anytime anything feels like a group activity, oh, we're all going to do this together. But I've always been a very introverted by nature, so I don't spend a lot of time with a lot of people. So this is like such a good, it's such a happy medium between not having to be in like a very stressful situation, like in public, but also being able to still feel or force everybody to feel like we're in a group activity doing a thing together.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I've kind of been the same way. Like I get really comfortable at like Celtics games, or like we've talked about the watch party that is this weekend. Shout out to Celtics GRD, February 24th. The Brook up in Seabrook, New Hampshire. At 8:30, we're doing a watch party for the Knicks game, and GRD is hosting it with his crew, and it's an open invite. So Ryan and I had talked about that privately about going to that. But like, I feel comfortable in those settings just because Celtics fans, right? Like it's a welcoming feeling.
Yeah, it really is. And it comes off that way. Especially as a person that it's not normally something, I don't usually seek out those types of situations because it's a Celtics event, kind of, especially a Celtics event, but primarily like Celtics Twitter, or at least our community. I'm like totally down. I think it's going to be super fun. Everyone's so nice. The Celtics are so good at basketball that it makes it a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think it's going to be a blast. It's in New Hampshire, right?
Yes, it is in New Hampshire. But the first thing I do want to talk about is obviously Jaylen Brown being part of the dunk contest. He's had a ton of like highlight dunks this year alone. Like obviously we all remember him dunking on Giannis and like always embarrassing him, which is always fun. But like the dunk on Rudy Gobert was so disrespectful. Like
they've been incredible. Like their slow motion.
I just want to know, like on JB's like dunk highlight reel specifically, like what has your thoughts been about it? Like I feel like he's dunking more than usual. He's like looking for those opportunities.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this season, because it does, I mean, he's always, after realizing it this season, because it became so prominent, and I don't know if it's because he gained the confidence to kind of just walk up and do it, because sometimes you can see him the same way you can with JT, see him realize that like, oh wow, in this moment I could just walk up to the basket and just put it in the basket. I can just do that on my own right now. And you can see him having that confidence and going for it way more this year, I think. I mean, he's always been great. His jump is crazy. But this year has been just like slow-mo dunk after slow-mo dunk. Like they're so good. He's really come into that role, I think. And to have him, because he is already just such a good player in the league in general, but he's also on, not to toot our own horn. Also, I'm on the team, but not to toot our own horn, but, the best, I would argue, the best team in the league. Him showing up for the dunk contest, I think, is awesome. I think way more people will be willing to watch it and want to participate. And I think he's going to win. So I'm pumped. I think he's great. I do.
No, I'm certainly right there with you. I mean, I hope he obviously wins, and I hope that I hope he blows everybody out of the water. But obviously, like my main concern is I want him to stay healthy. I mean, he's such a vital part to this team. But
Yes.
I have to give a quick shout out to Tomic from Twitter. I hope I am pronouncing his name correctly. His username is at TIMI_093. He does a lot of highlight videos, and he does a lot of just highlight stuff for the Celtics in general, a lot of videos, and he is actually giving us his Jaylen Brown dunk reel from this season.
Brown obliges. On the blow-by. Stuffs it. On Gobert's head.
Oh, my God.
He climbed the Stifle Tower.
Wow. Oh. That is one of the best rim protectors in NBA history. Take that. On the ground, step over. Oh! Jaylen Brown with a thunderous corner crash. Hey. Man. Look at this. Oh, windmill. And the stare down on the bench. I mean, it's his full windmill up.
Maybe I like that dunk better than Brown, right in the lane, gets the steal, takes it high, the bucket for two.
Brown, look at this. Crossover. And then I'm not going up for a layup, Capella. I'm dunking on your head. Here it is again. That's how you go to the cup.
He is having a day.
Oh,
That's a dunk. That's a dunk. Behind.
Minutes left in the third. Brown. Brings the house down. He just pulled the cord on the beam.
I like it. You know what? Angry Jaylen Brown is really cool, Jaylen Brown. I don't know who he's yelling at right now, but he's on one, and I like it.
Good shots on.
You want to challenge that at the rim. Elevates. No, you do not want to challenge and meet number 7 at the rim. You will lose that battle. So elite.
And again, I'm going to give credit where credit is due for that Jaylen Brown highlight reel of his dunks this season, featuring Ryan's cat, Boston.
He approves.
All right, so there's one thing I'm sure the people would love an explanation on this. It's one of the things I want an explanation on. Where did the Princess Diana Jayson Tatum comparison come from?
Oh, okay. First of all, that's like an awesome question. Because I stick to my guns and I mean it. So, okay. So, my whole concept of it is pretty much, I grew up with a single mom, right? And my single mom, being born in the 60s, loves Princess Diana, like loves her. Like she's one of the ones that bought into the Princess Diana hype of, she was just always beautiful and wonderful, and everything she had to say was wonderful. And she would walk around, like shaking hands and kissing babies. And I mean, she did wonderful philanthropic work. And there just wasn't, you never caught her not being lovely. She just always had a great response to the press. Anytime anyone had a question, she never overreacted. I mean, people were always in her face every moment, and she was just like super calm about it and really pleasant. And that's Jayson Tatum to me, is he's just like, there isn't really a time where he isn't bringing his A game. Like even in interviews, I mean, he always sounds so put together. He's wise beyond his years. And I think that probably has a lot to do with, I mean, of course, being in the spotlight all the time, but also probably being a dad. He just seems very rational. He's not hot-headed. And he kind of just like has the ability to compose himself when I think anybody else would be losing their mind. Right. But he's also criticized like crazy for everything that he does, no matter what. And yeah, I think that's it. That's the Princess Diana thing. And then anytime he says something particularly just like, mwah, I'm always like, yeah, that's him. That's Princess Diana.
What about the All-Star game makes it so great to play in, and what about it makes it a great presence to be in?
That's a great question. What's your name?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. What makes it special? I think just the history of it. You know, when I was your age, watching my favorite players, compete and play in the All-Star game and make highlights, it was a very special weekend for me to watch. And I could only dream and imagine of one day being able to wear that jersey and, live out my dream. And 5 years ago, I made my first All-Star game, and I've been fortunate enough to make it every single year. And just everything about All-Star Weekend. You just get to share the court with some of the greatest players to ever play. And, it's just memories you'll have for the rest of your life.
But the Princess Diana one is he's just so wonderful all the time. I'm just telling you.
But no, I think actually we should, or you should, come up with like a comparison for like our top 6.
I know, I was thinking maybe I'll do that for next week. I'll make our top 6.
Yeah, we have Princess Diana for JT. We have a baby deer for Derek White.
And then, Joe's obviously a meerkat.
That one is so funny. I forget.
That has lived on. That has lived on. There, I've seen two, entire little like Reddit threads about it. Little Reddit threads. I'm so old. Good Lord. But I started like a movement with that. I think that's your legacy. My claim to fame. That's what I need it on my headstone.
Joe Mazzulla meerkat. Yeah, right. But no, just like I think I don't know how you do it either. Like, do they just come to you like out of the blue?
Yeah, the meerkat one is distinct. That was strong. The baby deer one has grown on me, but then at one point I saw him. Oh, there's a picture of Derek on the sidelines with his like arms on his knees like this, and he's like looking up. And I was like, baby deer. That's what it is. Baby deer. This is the moment.
Now that we actually have a platform, tell the people about your first Celtics game experience.
Oh my God, it was the best day of my life. It was amazing. First of all, thank God we won, because I don't remember any of the game. I don't remember the basketball game at all. That's not true. I remember Jordan's first points. I remember that because that happened in the game. But other than that, it was all, I'm so accustomed to a television screen that apparently that's the only way my brain can interpret a basketball game. But the Garden is nuts. It's just crazy. It's exactly what, of course it's exactly what everyone said it was, but it's like, it has such an energy around it, and everyone does. Everyone is really nice and really into it. And it's just a really cool experience. And seeing Marcus, of course, I think he just handled that so well. He was awesome. I can't imagine, I really can't imagine another basketball player that, let alone, because the reasons to love Marcus go on, and they aren't his stat line. You know what I mean? Like that's not what it is. But considering, statistically what he brought to the game, the response of just like thousands of people to returning to his old team, where his current team is just getting their ass handed to them. And like, there was just this moment of appreciation for him, and everyone was cool with it, and it was all great, and everyone felt really good about it. I just can't imagine. I think about Drew. He's played in Milwaukee since he left, and that's not similar, but at all.
Yeah, this feels different right here. Boston is it's definitely a second home for me. I speak for everybody that it's nothing like playing in this place and playing in this city and with these fans. They definitely have shaped my life in many ways now.
It was awesome. I was so happy to be there for that. I was so overwhelmed by all of it. the fans are, especially because there are so many people that come in for games, and I guess I knew that, but all of our French fans were there, which was just really cool to see people that live in a completely different, not only place, but it's just the environment is so different because we live so close to, and you live a lot closer than I do, but still in New England. The atmosphere of the Celtics is, you can kind of always feel it if we're doing well. And I just can't imagine not living here, living across the ocean, and still somehow every year managing to, love the Celtics enough to save up enough money to make an entire trip with 20 other people, just because you love them so much. I just think that's awesome. And yeah, it was great. I've rambled about it, but I had the best time. So that's how it was.
And then
that's the short version.
You also met a ton of Celtics Twitter on.
I met so many people. I can't even remember half of the people that I met. I know I met Bree. I know I met Mike, obviously. I know I met Stephanie, Mariah, so many people.
Yeah, there was a ton of Celtics Twitter people there, and it was a blast. And it's, someone who's been to several games and kind of ingrained myself into this like family that Celtics Nation is. I mean, those meetups happen almost every game, almost every game. But I mean, it's always someone like, if I go to a game, it's always like, yo, meet me at wherever at halftime and we'll go get a drink together or grab a.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like there's always people. You could just feel it there. It's awesome. It's not like it's like you're gonna run into someone. That's kind of how it felt walking around. It was like inevitable that you'd probably run into somebody.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Which is such a small town feeling for such a huge place, because that place is nuts. Oh my goodness gracious. It is massive.
Yeah, you almost got lost trying to find your way in. That was a whole story.
Just 4 security guards right in front of me being like, Ryan. And I'm just like, Jared, I swear, I really have no idea where I am. I'm really confused. Like, girl, so oh my goodness. I wish I could say that wasn't all the time.
That whole interaction of like trying to get you in, all because a guy made me scan an extra ticket for no reason.
And I could feel that like we were about to be these like 5 to 10 employees inside joke for like 3 days, and I hated it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just embarrassing myself here, and I gotta lean into it because otherwise it'll be worse.
No, it was fun though. It was a blast, and like you said, like meeting Cedric and all the fans from France was just awesome. And then it was so nice of Cedric and his friend to walk us to your car after.
I was telling my mom about that. I was like, it was just there was no reason for them to do that. It was so polite. You all are the ones visiting here, and they managed to walk us not only to Dunkin' Donuts, speaking of Dunkin' Donuts, but then all the way to my parking garage, and I took us on a journey to get there. So
you did. I like that you couldn't figure out the name of the parking garage at first, so you're like, let's just go this way.
It's over here. I found it on. It was only $20. That I was very proud of. I didn't pay more than $20.
It's like, I mean, I get it. Speaking of going to Dunks after the game, I got to shout out my buddy John, one of my best friends. That started the very first game I went to. I went with him, and we went to Dunks right after, and we went it was just like I said, we went after the game, got coffee, and it was just like completely random. And ever since then, it just was that. It just every game go to Dunks after.
It's a perfect tradition. It's a perfect tradition.
And it's just become a thing. And so like the name Dunks and Donuts is fitting for so many levels now that I think about it. And like I didn't even like think of all these comparisons when we
I was thinking about it. I was like, wait, this is perfect for like 30 reasons. And I was like, when I dream big, right? So I'm like a year and a half down the line already in my head, and then I have to stop myself. But when we get to the point where I somehow can manage to make sure that you have donuts that I made and I have donuts that I made at the same time while we're recording, that'll be when it's come full circle. That's when I know I've done good. That's what I'm aiming for.
Coffee, like dunk the donut into the coffee, like on the camera. Like
that will be the thumbnail. I've already we hadn't even recorded yet, and I was like, okay, I need to chill out. I'm a crazy person, but I'm just saying it's gonna happen.
Oh, no doubt. It definitely will happen. It will definitely happen. Speaking of sending donuts and making sure people have pastries, I want to give a huge shout out to Meg, or bostonianindc is her Twitter handle. Without her, none of this would be possible.
She's the best person ever. She's the best person ever. I've had
Ryan, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the logos she made?
Yeah, she first of all, Meg's awesome. Interestingly enough, I was going back, I don't know what it was. I was trying to reference a tweet I had made in the last 2 years or something. So anyway, I was searching a certain term, found the tweet from like 2022, I think, or like maybe 21. Anyway, I found it, and I had thought that I hadn't realized that her and I had followed each other for as long as we had. But I only really started talking to Meg, I think about, I guess, the beginning of this season, probably. She started appearing more, and then I realized how wonderful she is. I mean, you only have to talk to her you only have to have 1 or 2 interactions with her to know that she's just like, she's not only nice and polite, but you can tell that behind that she's just genuinely a really good person. And then she slowly but surely started leaning into, I mean, her obvious clear graphic design ability, which I know she doesn't do for work normally, but she could and could get paid for that. She's super talented, and she makes awesome, I mean, they're kind of memes, but it's almost like rude, because they are, I mean, they're like pieces of graphic work. They're beautiful. She makes most of them Celtics themed, but she is also always really like Johnny on the spot for videos, to have them like downloaded and in a proper format to upload. Like, she's always really quick with uploading Celtics GIFs and or GIFs, whatever. She's just been really great. And anyway, at one point, I think somebody had snagged one of her graphics and had uploaded it without crediting her. And a bunch of us, because we're crazy, but like in a good way, but a little bit crazy, went and said like, hey, like, you can't just, take people's work and then repost it and claim it as your own. And then her and I started talking, and she's just as wonderful as I had imagined her to be. And she came through for us out of just the kindness of her own heart. Something you would pay someone to do. I really can't get past it. It's something you would pay someone hourly for, if anything. But put together all of our logos and our headers and put it in an email format that was very easy to understand with hex codes. And she's just great. She's thorough and great, and a really good person to know. And definitely shout out to Meg. I'm going to send you cookies. That I do know, in thanks from Jared and I, because, oh my goodness gracious, we wouldn't have been able to do that. That wouldn't have been a thing without you. And you're just awesome. So that's what I have to say. I talked at least for 2 minutes about Meg, and she deserves 5 minutes, but you get my point.
Well, next week we'll be able to talk a little bit more about her because she's actually going to be coming on as a guest. She's going to be our first guest because I want her to be able to plug herself, right? Like you bring up a good point. She's an excellent person. She's so kind to everybody. Like, I don't think I've seen a single negative thing that she's ever tweeted out. And I remember the whole thing where one of her graphics got stolen, and the way she carried herself, like the poise she carried herself with when just trying to deal with all that while everybody's like attacking this one dude is very impressive. And obviously there's only so much we can do or say for her, but next week she's going to come on the show, and I want her to be able to plug herself and talk about her graphics and where it started, because I don't know where she started doing it from.
I don't know her. That was the thing. I went back and saw that she had said she had replied to something her and I had like a back and forth years ago, and I didn't even realize. I think she had just recently shown her face, and I have a very difficult time keeping up with all the different Jayson, Tatum, Derek White, like if I don't know what your face looks like and you also don't have your name on your profile, I start to get very confused. But once I realized, because she did she posted a photo of herself earlier this year, and I was like, oh my goodness, what a beautiful girl. And it ended up being also this person that manages to make the cutest, like quirkiest little, some of them are so corny in the best way. And I mean it as a compliment. They're like my brand of corny, just like so precious. But yeah, because I really don't know her full, not only her like Twitter origin story, but I do know that she does, a lot of, she works in DC and does something I think quite admirable there as well. I don't want to put any titles on it, but I'm pretty sure she said something about that. So yeah, I'm super excited to have her explain herself.
Right.
That would be better.
No, I am too. And again, shout out to Meg. Like I said, this wouldn't be possible without her making the graphics, and she gave us the tools we needed, and so like I said, I want to have her on, and I want her to be able to talk about some of that stuff herself. So that will be next week. But yeah, aside from that, I think Celtics Twitter has just been a huge part of both of our lives in terms of like making new friends and getting these cool opportunities. And, I know I've tried other podcasts in the past, and I've had other platforms, but none really felt as fun or as I haven't been as excited about anything as I am about Dunks and Donuts.
Yeah, I think it's gonna work. I have I get it from my mom, but I have like a pathological certainty about things. Like when I decide, and it doesn't happen all the time. It's not me walking around being like amazing and like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm great at it and this. So it's few things, but when I've decided that I'm like pathologically certain about something, Ryan Bakes is a testament to it. Like it's going to happen. I don't know what we're going to do or how or what, but it will be happening.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is going to, a very fitting first title, Dunks and Donuts episode 1, Welcome to the Chaos.